the back of Ruth the Realtor's car, it's the Stacking Deeds Show. I'm Ruth's neighbor and part-time mechanic, Doug, broadcasting live from the spacious, luxurious trunk recording studio. Think you don't have the money to buy your first investment property? Well, think again, because Crystal and Joe today share their top 5 ways to build your down payment. Before that, in our headline, we wonder if with all the buzz about lower rents in the USA, if it doesn't make sense to take your newly found investment dollars overseas. And don't worry, because of course, I'm also going to share some cinema-tastic trivia. And now our hosts. He's the ebony to her ivory because he's got so much soul. It's Crystal Hammond and Joe Saul Seahigh.
You're a soul man, Joe. I loved that movie, by the way. Did you see that movie?
I did not see that movie, no.
Oh, no.
Very few movies I haven't seen, but that one I haven't seen.
Is that Robert Downey Jr.?
Right.
Soul Man? I can't remember.
Oh, and Michael J. Fox, right, Crystal?
No, I thought it
or
was
not Michael
the
J.
guy.
Fox, Jamie Fox.
It was
No, that's Ray.
It was a white guy that was a black guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
yeah.
too. That's why I think it was Robert. So we're looking it up.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Guess the Movie podcast.
Right.
I'm Joe Saul Seahigh, Ever Joe Money on Twitter. And cozied up in the back seat next to me, it's my good friend Condo Crystal on Twitter. Crystal Hammond is here. How are
Hello,
you?
Joe. Good. How are you?
Well, I'm fantastic. And while all the movie stuff that we can't figure out exactly where it comes from.
I know what I'm talking about. I don't know about you.
You do know. So who's in it? Who's in it, Crystal?
I don't remember.
It's just, as she said, she nailed it. It's just some white guy
right.
acting like a black guy.
They found out because it started raining and they're like, hey, your skin color is peeling.
Back when that used to be okay. It was C. Thomas Howell. What do you think he's doing right now? Eating a bowl of mini wheats?
He's listening to the Stacking Deeds
podcast.
podcast.
That's exactly what he's doing, because he's looking for 5 top ways to get his down payment together. But even before that, Crystal, let's just tell everybody, if they're not in our Stacking Benjamins Facebook group, Stacking Deeds and Stacking Benjamins Facebook group called The Basement, they have not seen your architectural drawings are out there for your development.
Yes. So for your viewing pleasure, anyone that hasn't been following, I'm building some fourplexes in Chicago. So it's like a hurry up and wait kind of deal. So we made a big milestone where the architect, he has plans. So we're ready to move forward and we have our applications in with the city.
How
So
exciting is that?
that is cool. So I'll post the pictures in the basement so you guys can see what some kind of blurry architectural plans look like.
When you file stuff like that with the city, what was the fee?
It was about $1,500 for all 4. So,
Okay.
right. It wasn't crazy expensive just to get the process started. And our architect is the one that actually filed to get the process started. So you make sure you have professionals doing all. I have a lot of people that are smarter than me helping me with this process.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because we talk about that every week, about surrounding yourself with really good people.
Yes.
And we hope to be those people today on the show. Got a great headline. We got Doug with us here. I like how, Crystal, by the way, we never do this. When you open up the cup holder between us, Doug can pop his face out.
That's a great feature. That's a great feature of the 88 Lincoln Town stretch car, is that, if you have skis that you need to transport, you can just break from the trunk into the back seat. But it also lets me stick my face in there and talk to you guys.
That's what I was going to say. That is a feature, and it is specifically for skis.
Yeah.
We didn't know Ruth was a skier. She's like a woman of many facets up there.
Many, many facets. This one right now is driving to Sonic for her daily Dr. Pepper. But while she's on her way there, we got a great headline for you. So let's get this show started. Our headline today comes to us from MoneyWise. This is written by Sarah Lewis. The headline, Crystal, says we save probably close to $100K. Rich Americans snatching up prime real estate abroad as the U.S. housing market slumps. Here's what you need to know before you buy. What do you think about buying property overseas. With all the negative headlines we've had lately, Crystal, what do you think about, buying yourself some land in Portugal or somewhere else?
Well, I'm all for it because people who love to travel, people who love to vacation. So, Joe and neighbor Doug, please, please buy overseas so I can come visit. That's a great opportunity for house
Well,
swapping.
I actually already did buy some swampland in Yemen.
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
do you have a
so you
yurt?
come visit my swamp. I haven't even seen it yet, actually, but it's probably gorgeous.
I'm
Did you
sure.
buy property on the moon too? Were you one of those
Don't
people?
don't you send that to your loved one? Don't you have a constellation named after them?
Right.
Probably. This
But
is
I
fantastic.
really think it's a wonderful idea just because I know a lot of people who tend to go to the same places year by year. So a lot of people every year they go to Barbados or Italy or Antigua. So why not own property there? So that way I think it comes with some kind of visa. It also comes with you live in paradise. You have a small slice of paradise. So I
I'm
say
laughing
yeah.
at the way you said that, Crystal, because it's like, oh my God, it just gets so tedious and boring to go to Antigua every year. I'm like,
Oh,
God, you
We
just
need
go to
to
the
own.
same exotic places over and over again.
and I like how she's also talking about us buying it because it's better
Right.
than owning a boat, having a friend with a boat.
That is
Exactly. Exactly.
What's better than property overseas? Having a
OPP, baby.
friend who buys property
OPP.
overseas.
OPP. There we go. Can we get Naughty by Nature on the show? OPP.
In this piece, it says Letitia Laurent knows the value of looking far and wide for a good deal. The Florida-based business owner and her husband had been hunting for a second home for 5 years before snacking an incredible bargain in Paris. She made an offer last January on a 415 square foot, one bedroom apartment in the coveted Golden Triangle area between the Champs-Élysées and the Seine and closed in June 2022. The U.S. housing market slowing down thanks to elevated home prices and mortgage rates. There's been a growing trend of affluent American buyers investing in overseas homes buoyed by favorable exchange rates and a strong dollar. I'm going to be the negative Nelly, Crystal, to your positive Crystal, which is there's so many things going on overseas that people don't think about. First of all, the laws are going to be completely different. The process of buying a house in a different country may be completely different. And we also might not have some of the protections as a renter if we're renting it out that we have. As an example, in Lisbon, in Portugal, I know there has been now a backlash against all of the people, a lot of Americans included, who bought properties downtown and turned them into Airbnbs. And pretty much there's not a lot of people living downtown Lisbon anymore. It's been so purchased up. And now the lawmakers are working to begin changing some of the rules to change. And if you're not there, it's even hard to stay up on that. So, Crystal, I think if you're going to buy a property in a different country, you need to be aware of some of these pitfalls before you go.
And that goes back to the community and having people that are smarter than you. My first step would be to get a realtor over in Lisbon, Portugal, where you
Yeah.
are. And if it's a place that I'm not really familiar with, that's not where I want to live. Like, oh, I love Paris. I went there by myself, didn't speak a lick of French, didn't know anybody,
Oh.
but I had a good time. So I think it depends on your comfort level.
Were they really patient with you because you didn't know the language? I hear they love it when Americans
No,
show
of
up and
course,
can't
right.
speak the language.
I took a cooking class too. That was also fun. I did get the eye roll when I was like, English, please.
Add more ketchup.
Right. Paris is my favorite city. It is
Me too.
just my favorite city.
By there. But I would start with a realtor because a realtor is definitely going to know. The realtor will steer you in the right direction. And the realtor, they know what's going on in the news. They know what's going on in different neighborhoods. And also, the more you go to the place, because then going back to people that frequent certain countries, when you're there, you're getting to know different things too. Every time you go, you learn more, you probably explore more. And I would definitely, when I went to Belize, we were there with a realtor and it was kind of a cheap move. If you're going, somewhere new, get a realtor and even pretend like you're buying a place there because that's your tour guide. That's your free tour guide there. And, they think they're going to make a closing too, a commission on you. So they kind of roll out the red carpet for you. That's another cheap
I think
move.
we have to draw a line here. I mean, if you're somebody who's just taking cooking classes in Paris and I want a place to live and I'm going to own some property, so that I can go back there, I look at that a lot differently than somebody who's looking at it as an investor first. Because if I'm an investor first, I think, Crystal, I still look at small town USA like we've talked about in the past. I think there's a lot of cities still in mid America that aren't seeing the downturn, that haven't seen, so many Airbnbs like in the Bay Area or
Mhm.
in Florida, the coast of Florida, where you don't have so much competition. I think if you're going to buy remotely, because there's other problems as well. I mean, another problem that we have is exchange rates. The average person doesn't understand exchange rates and has no idea really if it's a great deal, a bad deal. I mean, the rentometer, it's funny. We talked about using rentometer or rentometer last week with Al Hine. And, talking to some real estate pros, people that use it all the time, they're like, I like starting there. I think that's a great place to start with. But in a lot of cases, that is not specific enough. They talked about going to Zillow. I talked to three different people who talked about, I'll use rentometer first and then I will go to Zillow. But is Zillow in Paris? Does it
I
work as well as in the?
It should, but that speaks goes back to your realtor. Your realtor knows they have MLS or whatever they use. And then that also goes back to where do we start before we make the decision in the first place? We start with the money. We start with the spreadsheet. We start with buying it because when you buy, that's normally where you make most of your money. The bang is in the buck when you buy correctly. So all of the math, all of the numbers will tell you if this is a great buy or not, if this is a good decision or not. So, our listeners, our deeders know better than to just jump into something with both feet without
Sure.
doing all of the math,
Sure.
without all planning for, hey, here's plan A, B, C. They have all the scenarios worked out. And they're working with, a local realtor there or a local person that's smarter than them that knows the trends and they're keeping up. And the person they hired is keeping up, and the person they hired is making sure that they understand it too. Like our deeders understand and is sharing articles, sharing trends. And, you need to keep up to date. You still need to do your own due diligence
Yeah, and a
also.
big piece of that due diligence, I think, is looking more than just the last couple of years, the last few years, what the trend is, look longer term. I think looking back 10 and 20 years and getting a feel of the heartbeat. How did things do in 2007, 2008, in
Mhm.
whatever area that you are when we saw a big worldwide downturn in real estate? Did that help? A place where I can get a little more excited about this is if you're somebody who maybe grew up in a country and then
Mhm.
now you've moved from there. As an example, when I was a financial planner, I had clients that were from India and wanted to
Mhm.
buy land in India in their hometown. I also had a client from Ireland who wanted to buy real estate in Ireland. I think, Crystal, if you're somebody that lived a decent part of your life in a country before you made the move to the USA or wherever you live now, I think that's a different game because the only problem I have with your realtor analogy is realtors across the world work on commissions.
Mhm.
And I'm not above telling you just how freaking great this neighborhood is.
For
And,
sale because you're overseas.
well, yeah. And if I get you to just buy it, I get a commission and then you'll learn. And generally, it's going to work out okay, but it won't be the magical thing that the realtor might be telling you that it is.
That
I've
falafel shop on the corner is not the best on Yelp.
very few real estate professionals are truly going to go, I think this is a bad time to buy here. And I think this might not be the neighborhood for you. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I need my network for me to be even deeper than that. But I do like having a
Mhm.
realtor who's on the ground, Crystal, back to your point. I do like having realtors on the ground who can tell me some of the things going on in the area. And then to your point, independent verification.
And another thing too, because I agree, don't just depend on your realtor to be your eyes and ears. That's why I'm a huge, huge fan of local. I love shopping at local shops. I love dining at local restaurants. Talk to that server or waiter or restaurant owner. that person also is a wealth of information. So definitely chat it up with them, chat about different neighborhoods, chat about, hey, so do you own
That
in this area?
that is a great point. I remember reading that. I don't remember where I read it, and it just hit me as this huge aha. Like when you're looking at a house in a neighborhood, go knock on a neighbor's door and just ask them, how do you like living in the neighborhood? What do you think about these neighbors? What do you think
Yeah.
about the
If
people?
it's
And
safe.
well, not even if it's safe, they're like, oh, Bill across the street is a complete jerk. He's da 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 da. And maybe you'll talk to somebody, Crystal, and you're like, I don't even like this person, and I'm going to be right next door to them.
Hmm.
Like, you know how that can wear on you. I had a neighbor in a house I lived in Detroit that I couldn't stand. And man, it just made living there awful. Every time they were in the front yard, I didn't want to go in my own front yard because I'd have to look at these people that, yeah.
See, that can happen in any town, USA, and it can happen overseas. So do your same due diligence,
It can happen
whether
in
you're
Turks and
here.
Caicos while you're
Exactly.
on the beach. We'll link to this story on our show notes page. You can get our show notes delivered directly to your email, Crystal. You know how?
At stackingdeeds.net. I just happen to know that. Yes, of course.
It is wild, the amazing information you have. Hey, we got more information coming up, but before that, I think, Doug, you got a pop quiz?
Hey there, Deaners. I'm Ruth's mirthful maestro conducting a symphony of humor, Neighbor Doug. And it's time for my property pop quiz. Here's something I ought to try out. Did you know that you can rent your house for a video shoot and earn a significant amount of money? After the cost of talent, locations are typically the second largest production cost on a film shoot, demanding anywhere from 20 to 30% of the total budget. Just think, you can rent your home for photo shoots for several hours and potentially make several $100. So here's the question. According to Gigster, approximately how much does the average homeowner earn per booking for renting their homes for filming locations? Is it A, $500, 2, $2,000, 2.5, $10,000? I'll be back right after I list Ruth's 88 Lincoln Stretch Town Car as a potential filming location for the next Blues Brothers flick. She can drive way better than that Elroy guy, and she kind of looks like him too. Hey there, Deeters. I'm the guy who keeps the talent on this podcast running, Ruth's Agent Doug. According to Gigster, approximately how much does the average homeowner earn per booking for renting their homes for filming locations? Was it A, $500, 2, $2,000, or 2.5, $10,000? Well, get ready to list your home, Deeters, because the average homeowner on Gigster earns $2,027 per booking. And the average annual income for homeowners who have hosted at least one shoot is $3,945. So if you guessed B, you're correctamundo. In addition to Gigster, you can also list your place on websites like PeerSpace and Airbnb. But if you're renting your home for a film shoot, just make sure to have a written agreement in place. Ruth got pretty pissed when they installed a taco machine and we had people lined up for tacos the next Tuesday. But seriously, this agreement should spell out the rental terms, including the length of the shoot, the compensation you'll receive, and any damage deposit that's required. And now that you've got the #1 way to give your house a starring role in a film, let's pivot to our hosts with the top 5 ways to earn extra money for that first investment property, Crystal Hammond and Joe Salsihai.
Doug, I actually think you did in real life have your home used in a video.
Twice. 1 video and 2 print shoots. Yeah, did not earn that kind of money, but it was also quite a number of years ago.
Doug's like, I'm learning.
Oh,
Yeah, Doug's learning for the
you
show.
cheated yourself.
Yes.
Well, and I didn't have a written agreement, didn't know about getting a deposit. So we're just like, sure, come on over. And they filmed stuff and we got a check a few weeks later. But
did you get paid for it?
yeah, we did. We definitely did. Yeah. And it was, I don't know, the video was the most because they were there the longest. And that was maybe a couple of grand at the most, maybe $1,800. But I mean, it had to have been 15 years ago. The photo shoot was hilarious because they were doing an ad for a Chrysler minivan They parked it all in front of the house and kind of had it set up in these different spaces. And they were there all day. And after all of that, all they used was, we had this section of black-eyed Susan flowers. And they just like cropped out a section of those flowers and photoshopped it in so that you could see it through all of the windows of the minivan. And that was the house didn't show up. None of the lawn. We did all this work to prep it to make it look nice. None of it showed up. They just, oh, we like those. They could have gone to the internet and grabbed black-eyed Susans and pasted them into the windows. We still got paid.
Funny.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this though, because, you know, a lot of people might be thinking, oh, Doug must have like this huge house and they park it. Your house was an average size American house. It had a
curb appeal.
Yeah, it had curb appeal. It was a cute house that would look good in an ad. It looked like in an ad, I could see it looking like the every person house in a nice neighborhood in America, somewhere, you know, anywhere America.
That's me, every person.
So I don't think you need a big house, you know, to get that.
I don't either. And here in Old Town, there's a really, really popular Airbnb that people rent out just to film videos and commercials. I was actually in one of the commercials where
what kind of videos?
No, it was funny because I had to wear a robe and they're like, "Are you filming a porn?" I was like, "No, it's for a hair product, you know, in the shower." But it was pretty funny that, you know, right down the street there was this hidden gem that people, you know, periodically rent out just for filming commercials and video shoots. So you never know.
No, you don't.
If only the audience could see you using air quotes right now as you say commercials.
Right. It was a trap house. Hey, trap houses need love too. Those are listed.
At this point in the show, Crystal, you and I talking about ways to raise money. Let's talk about what we're doing and what we're not doing. We're not going to talk about some of the stuff Al Hine talked about, which is different types of loans to take. We are not going to be going into like, you know, take this type of loan, use a hard money lender. We're talking about actually raising the money for that initial down payment. And so these are going to be much more broad hacks. We will, as we have in the past, talk about different types of loans that might work to get you where you're going to go. But that's not the purpose of today's top 5.
It is not. And before I start with my list, because I haven't seen Joe's list, Joe hasn't seen my list, so this is going to be fun. I do want to just have a disclaimer is I think your first step should always be to set a goal, because I know like, and write it down, because don't they say something like 80% of goals, they get attained once you write it down. So I love like one day we need to do what's on your Post-it notes day, because I have so many Post-it notes full of good ideas and, you know, things to do. So you can even put it on a Post-it note, hang it where you'll see it every day. It's like, look, this is my goal. And then this is how I will reach it. And every time you know, add money to it, you know, fill it in, or, you know, when they do the fundraisers, those are always fun, in my opinion.
Yeah. Emily Guy Birkin, my co-author on our book Stack last year, she talked about that, about, you know, making it like the United Way thermometer that everybody's seen wherever they live, and fill it in as you get closer to your goal. The more you gamify it, the more excited you'll get, and the more you'll stick with it. Yeah. I love that idea, Crystal. All right, we are going to now jump into our top 5. Number 5.
So this is the lowest on my list. This one, I'm not going to say it's kind of funny, but I would say, I don't recommend this. I'm going to say it right. Borrow from friends and family. I almost have to hold my laughter for that, but a lot of people don't have friends and family with money. I'd love to separate the two, but I would happily give money to someone that wants to buy an investment property. I'm a conditional gift giver. You know, I don't care if you're coming to me for money. I'm going to tell you how you spend it, or go ask someone else. So if someone wants to pay, you know, to educate themselves, you know, go to some kind of trade school, you know, experiences. I've contributed to people, you know, going to Paris and stuff like that. Go for it. I'm going to give a conditional gift, and my conditional gift would be for real estate. So you can maybe ask friends and family, but hey, offer them equity in return. Be like, hey, if you give me this amount of money, you'll be a part owner. You know, you can make whatever percentage. If people are afraid of interest rates going up, offer, you know, a friend or a loved one or family, you know, someone that has the money to give. Offer them an interest rate that's comparable or a little less than what the banks are offering. So I would say friends and family.
If Alan, our awesome former co-host, was still here, Crystal, he'd be all about that.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
thinks this is a great idea. And for a few reasons that I tend to agree with. Number one, you don't need a written contract for most family members. For 99.9% of family members, you don't need it. Second thing is, if things go haywire, which you hope they don't, but they sometimes do, they're still related to you. There's still going to be that connection, even though it's going to make Thanksgiving dinner a little awkward or a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
awkward.
Oh, yeah. Fun.
It,
Film it if you're going to fight. No, just
yeah,
kidding.
you're still going to
Don't fight.
put up on our YouTube page for us, please. Let's see that thing go viral. But I really think that the flexibility, if you get behind on a payment, the flexibility that you get with friends and family for some investors, if you can handle the awkwardness, really works really well. Plus, you'll get better terms than you will through a lot of banks. And frankly, you said offer them equity. You may not even have to offer them equity. You may be able to offer them a set interest rate in some cases, with some family members I saw, especially parents. They may just do it to help you and
See you
not
win.
and not
Yeah.
want any interest rate. So I wouldn't take advantage of people, but I'm with you. I don't like this one either. Every time that I worked with family as a financial planner, I hated it.
Backfires. Yeah. You
It, it,
think you're helping, and it's just not. It puts you in a bad position
it
to say,
does.
"Hey, give me my money."
It
Treat me
does.
like the bank, and be fair. And
Yes.
yeah, so we kind of don't. But if you have that relationship, I would say do it. But if not, it can ruin relationships. So tread lightly with this one.
I like how your number 5 is on as a cautionary tale. Mine is even more of a cautionary tale because yours should frankly be on this list. Mine shouldn't, but I feel so strongly about this. I wanted to make sure we got it on the list. So my number 5 is a workplace retirement plan loan, like a 401k loan. Do not take out a 401k loan to buy your next property. And in fact, let me make that a little bigger, Crystal. I wouldn't even, and you're going to hear a lot of real estate people say this is a good deal and you can do it. I wouldn't put a real estate investment inside of my IRA. A lot of people, you'll see videos going, hey, you can just use your IRA to buy. You got a lot of money inside your IRA, enough money to buy a house. Go ahead and buy the house with the IRA. They will tell you. I will tell you, yes, you can do it. Yes, there are companies that will help you do it. It's the world's biggest pain in the ass. And there are so many caveats. Let me give you a few of the caveats if you try to buy the house with retirement money. And I'm not talking 401k loan now. I'm talking about you just buy it inside your IRA. Number one, you can never go there. If you go there, you disqualify your IRA. It is no longer an IRA because there has to be separation of you and your money with an IRA. And if you go there and you spend a week there, it's now a vacation home, no longer an IRA. Second thing is, let's say that you've got maintenance and upkeep and you spend every last dollar to do the mortgage. Now you have to come up with a new stream of income that takes care of if you have construction on the house or if you need new windows, whatever that is, that also has to come from the IRA. If it comes from your money and you commingle, your entire IRA is no. So imagine, and by the way, when I say this, let's say it's a $300,000 house. Crystal, you just disqualified $300,000 in a single year. You know what that means? It means you earned, according to the IRS, you're going to show $300,000 of income right now. And if you're under 59 and a half, there's going to be a 10% penalty and you're going to have $300,000 of income. You're going to pay all the tax. You're going to end up in this huge tax nightmare. So yeah. And then you earn money. Let's say that, a tenant stays there and that money's got to go directly back to the IRA. You can't touch any of that money. Now, that helps with the upkeep, but you can see there's got to be this huge separation, so I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take out a 401k loan, and I also wouldn't use IRA money. That's my number 5.
That is interesting. So I've done the 401k loan for down payment on a home, and some people say you can do that depending on how the stock market is going. Like, I know when it was in that downturn, people were like,
Sure.
oh, your money will work a lot harder for you if you just buy a property with it. So,
Well, let's talk
um,
about that for a second, because let's look longer term. The stock market goes up 70% of the time. And if the
yeah,
stock
true.
market lately has gone down, when the stock market goes down, it only goes down for a few months at a time. Historically, The cuts of that knife are fast, and then it rebounds fast. And so if the stock market quote isn't doing well and you decide to take out a 401k loan, you just locked in those losses that when they come back fast and furious. In fact, I was watching a video just yesterday about people talking about the current bull market. And for the average person listening, they're like, whoa, the stock market hasn't done what? Yes, it has. But just in the last few months, I bet most people listening to this are like, oh, the stock market's been, no. Stock market's done pretty damn well again lately. And people are saying that it's another bull market that we're in. So if you're somebody that is taking out a 401k loan when the quote stock market's bad, I think you are compounding the problem. If you were going to take out a 401k loan, I would say, Crystal, the better idea is to take it out when the market is hot and doing phenomenally well, because your chance of hitting that 30% is much better. That said, I wouldn't play that game at all. I wouldn't bet. The other thing that, there's a few things here. You also are paying back pre-tax money in most cases with after-tax money. But when you take out that money again, when you're spending it later on, when it's leaving the IRA, the IRS treats it as pre-tax again. So you're going to pay tax twice on that money. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that if you lose your job, you're going to pay back that entire loan very quickly.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
too many downsides with 401k loans. So don't touch your retirement money.
You're right. Yeah, it's there for you to keep for retirement.
I put it as my number 5 just to make sure we covered that.
That's a good one.
The next 4 will be positive, I promise.
Yes, mine too.
Number 4.
Your turn, number 4.
Oh, we're going back and forth? We're going to back and forth thing?
Why not?
Okay. My number 4 is set amount of money that you want to save, lock it into your budget, and automate it. And my number 4 specifically is automation, because if you promise yourself, Crystal, that you're going to set aside X amount of money for a rental property, you ain't going to do it. You're not going to do it. You got to do like you do with your 401k at work. You have to make an automatic payment. So what's funny is people used to tell me when I was a planner that they would, I'm going to set aside $1,000 a month. We'd meet again 5 months later. They've set aside $2,000 because the other 3 months, something came up, right? But every single time that we would make that an automatic $1,000, that is a bill that's going to hit my checking account to go into, my separate account that I've set up as my down payment fund. If I set that up and I make it an automatic bill, I never, ever, ever had anybody not do it. 16 years. I never had anybody not follow through, because once it's a bill, our brain is lazy. Our brain's like, oh, I got to make sure the $1,000 is there for my bill. So use automate.
Yeah, because we pay our phone bills, cell phone bills, cable bills, all that stuff gets paid. Imagine taking that same amount and applying it to your real estate fund.
Yeah, set it up, and automation is the key. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is learn some day trading. I know it's risky.
I got to reach across the internet and just, if you guys hear Crystal getting strangled.
Well, that can also be slow and steady wins the race. One year I did a challenge where I put $52 a week and bought Apple stock. And by the end of the year, I had a pretty penny saved up. So if you do something simple like that, Apple is a company, everybody knows Apple. I'm not saying pick Apple, but even the S&P, if you did $52 per week in the S&P, you'd be up like 30% this year. So pick something small. It could be small. And going back to your automation, this is so similar, but you're just buying a stock, because when you automate it in a regular bank account, the interest rates are like 1% on those. So I'm not saying gamble it, because, I'm picking Apple. I'm picking a stock that I'm already an Apple addict. I do have the watch. I've always had MacBooks and iPads, but I did have a Droid phone. That is funny. I would have a MacBook, iPad, but Droid phone.
And then one that doesn't
still have
work.
Features that are better. But I would say if it's something that you're already investing in, like I have money tied up in Apple, I should at least have that same amount tied up in Apple stock.
So the former financial planner and me can't let that go.
Okay.
Because there's reasons why financial planners will tell you not to do what Crystal just said. Now, here's the deal though, Crystal. I still like that, but with some caveats. knowing that the stock market goes up 70% of the time and down 30% of the time. The reason they tell you not to do that is if I need that money by a specific day and time, that's too much gambling. So put it in someplace safe where you're not going to go, oh, I can't do it because I've lost 20% of this money. But with a rental property, you probably have time to be flexible. And if you've got time to be flexible and the market goes down during that period or the stock goes down, you can continue to invest and pick up even more while it's down, giving you greater flexibility later when it comes up. But realize that if you're going to use the stock market as a vehicle for less than 5 years, that time you want the money cannot be a specific day. It can't be, because there's too big a risk that you're going to be disappointed because the market goes down. Which also, by the way to mitigate that risk is to use an index versus an individual stock, because an index will more reliably go down and go up. The only problem I have with Apple, and this is not about Apple, it's that, well, let's turn Apple into Enron. There were a lot of people just south of me here in Houston that thought Enron was a great company. Only 5 people, according to most sources, there were 5 people that knew the crap that was really going on. In that entire huge company, there were 5. And when news breaks at an individual company, that affects the stock and there's nothing we can do about it. So if a company we think is great all of a sudden has news that is bad and permanently smokes the stock, that makes it difficult.
Well,
Well, there was a guy online, and I'll give you an example. I'm not going to say the person's name. They're very well respected. They've won some Plutus Awards. This person said, hey, look at Microsoft and what a great stock. I love Microsoft. I think Microsoft is a great stock, but Crystal, for like 14 years, just go back and look at a chart. Microsoft didn't do anything. Microsoft stock did nothing. And this person online, a financial educator, was going, hey, buy a blue chip like Microsoft because it's amazing. It went up X amount. Yes, it did the last 5 years, but go look at before that. It was a crappy stock. And I'll bet that during that 14-year period, you would have sold the company long before it started going up. You would have given up. There's no way that you would have held on to it.
That makes sense. But they're also going back to your ETFs and like an index. There are a lot of housing index funds out there too. So that's another vehicle. Why not put, that money while you're saving into a stock, or
into a REIT.
ETF. Yeah, a REIT. Yep. Real estate investment trust. Those are a lot of different investment vehicles where you are saving up for your down payment and it's in a similar fund.
And what I like about the REIT better than the stock market is the volatility on a daily basis is a lot less. I mean, it still can be ugly. So watch out for that. Right. Doug, you were poking us on the leg here through the little cup holder. What's going on?
Hey guys, I just want you guys to know that Ruth's going to stop up here at the Sonic to get me one of those strawberry swirly slushy things, and I'm out. There's nothing that's going to stop me from getting my strawberry swirly slushy thing.
So we'll have to move out of the way. Okay, got it.
Yeah, we will let her know.
Show might end.
Number 3.
All right.
No, hold on. I'm sitting right here, and you're not even going to let me do the announcer guy part? I can't say the numbers?
Well, you're right. We got this British guy thing, that button we're pressing. But you're right. We could probably have, Doug, you could probably take it from here.
Number 3. See? British. Right there.
American.
If I hadn't said anything, they'd be like, whoa, the British guy just showed up in the trunk.
Sounds a little bit like Michigan guy doing British guy, but who knows? Crystal, what's our number 3?
I'm going with side hustle. So this is your time to shine. If there's something that you love doing, go ahead and do it. And all the money you make from that side hustle is now your real estate fund. I am a side hustle-lista. I love Zumba. That was my first workout class I fell in love with. So I started teaching Zumba. So all the Zumba money goes into one account. And then sewing. I love sewing. I teach sewing. So any money I make doing that. What else do I do? The social media. I do social media for a small local restaurant. So all that money goes into the one account. So whatever, it has to be something you already love doing. So something that you're not going to spend a ton of time learning how to do and, stressing yourself out. Do something, follow the path of least resistance. So do something you're good at, charge people for it, and all the money you make from that, save it for your down payment.
My number 3 is side gigs.
You don't say.
I don't think we have to go into that more. I do think, raise extra money. If you can combine, by the way, Crystal, a couple of these together, if you could do side gigs and do that on top of changing your lifestyle a little bit and putting money in automatically, I think you can definitely nail it. So that's my number 3. All right. Fake British guy.
Michigan Brit.
Number 2.
Michigan Brit. Misha Brit. Number 2 is back to me. I think getting creative, if you're really struggling for a down payment, and my number 2 and number 1 aren't number 2 and number 1 because of the fact that they are the best strategies, Crystal. These are the ones that people generally don't think about, which is why I have them at 2 and 1. I think my number 1 clearly probably is automating stuff. I think that's an easy win. I think side gigs are an easy win. These two, I think a lot of people forget to creatively use the equity in your current residence if you have some. So create a home equity strategy. You're going to get a lower interest rate in a house that you live in than you will on an investment property, number 1. Number 2 is a home equity line of credit is something you might want to have open anyway in case you have big time emergencies. So using a home equity to help finance your real estate venture is going to be something that's flexible. You can also make flexible payments on it. So I've been creating some type of a home equity strategy using your current homes by number 2.
I 100% agree with that. That's on my list too, but it's not number 2. But
I wonder where it might be then.
but that's like money that you already have that you're literally sitting on in your house. So that's the easiest flex is tap into your home equity. And there you go. Go from there. You already had the money.
What's your number 2?
Oh, number 2. So my number 2 is some people have this option, some people don't, but working overtime at their current job. If you have that option, I would say go for it because you're already doing the job, number 1. Hopefully it's the job that you actually like. So just pick up some extra hours, or if overtime's not available, pick up a couple extra shifts and, just do your math. Be like, okay, if I pick up 1 extra shift or 2 extra shifts per month, this is how much it's going to give me towards my goal. Or if I pick up 1 a week. So, plan it out, decide how much overtime you can do or how many extra shifts you can pick up and, do something you're already doing at your job and use that to fund your real estate account.
And the key there is when you get the paycheck, make sure you segregate that money immediately, because if you don't, your brain will come up with all kinds of creative uses and you go, oh, I'll save for that down payment later. But I do like that one. That one wasn't on my list and it probably should have been instead of don't take out a 401k loan. Should have been on my list. It's the big time.
Big number.
Doug.
And another 1.
He went gangster rap on it.
No,
okay.
That's so anticlimactic.
New York.
This could have been so good. And yet, Crystal, then we saved the best for last, which is yours. We will go yours. I was saying save the best for last, which is yours. Oh, no. We know what yours is. Sorry.
Yeah, it's home equity.
That's
number
right.
1 is home equity.
Yes.
So we've covered home equity, but that is the number 1 because I think that's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah. I also think that that's a creative spot where a lot of people miss. They just get so locked into property equals loan on that property, and you can actually creatively finance around that. And that's a lot of strategies too. The Burr method of buying properties, people will use that. They'll use property number 1 to finance property number 2, then finance property number 2 to build property number 3, and go on and on. My number 1 is number 1 only because it's incredibly creative and people don't think about it. Friends of ours, a couple, Ty and Talat at His and Her Money, have used this strategy to get out of debt. It's a great strategy though, to also build that down payment. Sell stuff around your house. If you get a chance to listen to the His and Her Money people or go to their YouTube page, maybe Crystal, we can put a link in the show notes. Definitely. They started selling stuff around the house. And then all of a sudden they realized how much money they were making doing this. And they sold more and more and more stuff. And they couldn't believe how much money they got from stuff that they didn't know they had. Now, this isn't everybody. Clearly, everybody doesn't have a bunch of stuff sitting around the house, but you could probably easily, for most of us, come up with a few $1,000s just by selling stuff around the house. So that's my number 1.
I love that idea. Yeah. And like they're fellow Chicagoans too. So
they are.
That's a very good idea. I can't believe I missed that. How much can you get for this car, Doug, you think?
That's right. How much
How about $6,250? And there's a decimal point.
Can we?
Oh, no.
Can we sell space in the back seat here? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm glad nobody said lottery. Please note that lottery was not on the list.
No, we did not.
You can buy property without winning the lottery.
That is our top 5 ways to save for that first down payment. If you want to find those, Crystal, we will have them in the show notes, which can be delivered right to your email box, hot and fresh. But to get them, where do they go, Crystal Hammond?
Head on over to stackingdeeds.net/show notes, and then you'll get yourself on the list and you'll get some fun stuff from us week by week.
Here's what we'd like you to do. I know that you listen to this show to get more information, but information's nothing if you don't use it. We'd love to get your emails or hit us up on social media. Tell us that you started using these. It isn't about what you know, it's about what you do. And I'd love to hear your emails or social media post about you setting some of these plans into action. Let's get some success stories here on the show.
Yes, I love it.
Well, one thing that we are not succeeding at is I'm looking at the time. We are not succeeding at controlling our time, but that's because we had good discussions today, which means we are going to go ahead and punt, as they say in football, on Bruce Rotary. We had a caller that had a great TikTok. We'll play that for you next week. Yeah. Speaking of that, coming up next week, we got another great show next Tuesday. Tell your friends if they are into real estate that we are here. Brag about us on social media if you don't mind. We love growing this community. We'd love you to be a part. Head to on Facebook. We have the Stacking Benjamin, Stacking Deeds Facebook group called Mom's Basement, which is where some of the fun happens when it's not happening here in the car. Crystal, looks like we're pulling in at Sonic. Doug's got his order in. What are you getting?
Water.
So healthy.
I mean, it's Sonic.
We got to kill this on that.
I would eat Five Guys.
Oh,
but they cost too much.
They do.
Yeah,
right.
Prices have gone out of control.
People that compare Five Guys to In-N-Out, that's not even a fair comparison because Five Guys is $1 billion and In-N-Out isn't. And they just
quality.
Oh, are you saying you don't like In-N-Out burgers?
No, they don't have any quality whatsoever.
Culver's.
Okay, we got to go because Crystal and I have to fight about this.
Yeah,
but Doug, while we're fighting about this, what should we have learned on today's show?
There's no fight to be had. It's Culver's wins every time. It is. Yeah. Okay. Everybody in the basement knows my feelings about Culver's. So I'm just going to end the show. Can I do that?
Please, God.
Mic drop.
So, what should we have learned today? First, take some advice from our hosts. You probably have money sitting around that you didn't even know you had. Being creative will bring you one step closer to buying your first piece of investment property. Second, learn to be fluent in real estate-ese. Use your context clues when reading listings and always consult a professional or someone who knows a lot more than you do before you hit that buy button. But the big lesson? Turns out you can make even more dinero renting your place to film crews if you have a taco machine installed in the trunk. I mean, this thing is practically a money printing machine. What, more guac? Ah, sure thing, that'll be $2, pal. Thanks to our listeners for hanging with us today. We'll include links in our show notes at stackingdeeds.net.
Plans.
Yeah, the architectural plans, because we had to cut that from the last episode, and I really want to do a Crystal Flex.
Okay.
So, all right.
Sounds like a product. Crystal Flex.
Right.
Buy the Crystal Flex.
I swear by this ever since my arthritis came on strong.
And then I bought Crystal Flex.
I can tie my shoes now.
My life was so much better after the Crystal Flex.
Crystal meth? No, Crystal Flex.
No.
That gives you
It's so much
superpowers
better
for
than
too.
meth.
Put that crystal
From the
meth
makers of
down.
crystal meth, it's Crystal Flex.
Like your meth, but not quite so strong. I used to do meth and it left me with a wicked hangover. But once I switched to Crystal Flex, it's horrible.
I like
And you can seal your house with it.
it. Repairs foundation cracks.
Isn't that what is that? That's a Flex product too, isn't it?
That's right.
Oh, the gorilla.
The guy who like
stuff.
makes the boat out of a screen door with the something Flex, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I thought it was super glue.
No, it's like a sealing rubberized spray. You can
Repairs
fix
your house and fun on a Friday night.
Right.